Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
So today we're going to start standing up and bouncing. Because what a great way to start our year, our calendar year, with some shaking off of last year. I bet you all want to shake off last year. I know I do. So feel free to bounce loosely. You can waggle an arm if you like. You can waggle a leg if you like. You can waggle an opposite arm and an opposite leg. Gently turn your head side to side. Emphasis on gentle there. And if you're feeling over-energized, take your legs nice and wide and just shake it all down. If you're feeling under-energized, you know what to do. Hop in place. Either way, find the body as this heavy, fluid, weighty, liquid thing that is just shaking it all down, shaking out any tension, anywhere that we're holding tight. Maybe in the tail, maybe in the belly, maybe around the heart. Shake it all down. And then from here, we can turn the shaking into gentle twisting. You can either keep bouncing or you can bring yourself to less bounce and more twist. That's fine. So we're just prepping the abdomen for a little bit of abdominal adventures today, both in relaxation and also in strength building. So twisting will help us in that way because it helps us to digest food. It helps us to send things downwards along their natural path. It helps to loosen up the abdomen. So let's do Cuttin today. It's a different kind of twist than we often teach. It's from a hatha yoga tradition. And it looks like this. Going side to side with one arm bending and touching the sternum as you go to each side. If you want to time this with your breathing, you can inhale, exhale, exhale. Try to keep your hips facing forward the whole time, not bringing them with you like this, but see if you can bring that twist higher up around the waist. And then, in an effort to not be too formal, too uptight, now you can let the hips wander and feel free to maybe bend one knee and then bend the other. You can even swing the arms up side to side like this, just loosely. Let the momentum of the arms take you to your twist. If you're getting dizzy, lighten it up. Don't have to go as deep. And then we'll just shake it on out again. Wave off the arms, wave off the legs, everything. What next? What else do we want to teach to help prep the belly? Hip rolls, maybe?
Yeah, so we'll step our feet out to about back mats with distance and just roll the hips, make big O's, big circles with your hips. You can put your hands on your hips, and you can just let your hands dangle. And then when you're ready, switch the direction you're making that circle. Take it in the opposite direction. Rolling out the hips, just continue breathing. Nice, long, deep breaths while you're doing this. All right, then we can come to stillness. Want to do the rest of the hips?
Yeah, why not?
All right,
Forward.
hit the feet about hips width distance. Here's your hips, these bony parts right here. Look straight down. You can line up the feet with them. You could also take 2 fist widths. That's another way to measure off. And then turn the feet so that they're both facing forward. So we're not like this, we're like this. And we're gonna take the pelvis and just rock it forward, rock it back. So it's like you're sticking your tailbone out and then you're drawing your pelvis up and under. You're scooping your tailbone down as you bring the pelvis up. You can also turn this into a stomach abdominal exercise. You can use the lower abdominal muscles to pull the pelvis forward and then just drop it.
But if you aren't making an abdominal exercise, don't worry about it, because we're gonna exercise your abdomens.
And then when you're ready, let's bring a small circular motion into this.
Oof, squeaky floor.
A few times in one direction, then let's switch the direction. We're carving those circles. And then you can just sort of shake it out. You can even wiggle a little bit through the hips. Let's step out a little wider again.
Ooh, I want to teach this one. Are you doing the figure eights?
Yeah, go for it, because I'm going to teach the arm thing.
Yeah, let's do the arm thing. So figure eights. I bring one hip forward and back, and then I bring the other hip forward and back. It's like I'm drawing a figure eight with my tailbone if it extended all the way down to the ground. What a thought. I'd be like a cat. So as we do this, if you want to get the upper body engaged, try backstroking. So as one hip comes back, one arm comes back. Hopefully it should come fairly fluidly to you. If it doesn't, just put the hands on the hips and keep up with the hips, or you can hold still and just backstroke. And you might find that the backstroke takes you into your figure eighting. Again, if you get dizzy, slow down, take it easy. Keep eyes on the ground, shake it off, whatever you need to do to feel grounded here. This is a class that is going to be kind of motivating and uplifting. So keep an eye on yourself. When you're ready, we'll switch directions. So this time my hips are coming around from the back and leading forward like this. And again, you can stay here, just focusing on the hips, or you can do the crawl, the front stroke, the breaststroke, whatever this stroke is called, the swimming forward stroke. And of course, like before, if it doesn't make any sense, just do the breaststroke and see if that involves the hips at any point. Breathing deep the whole time. Another thing you can do if you are getting dizzy is you can keep your eye on your nose tip, although my nose tip is moving around quite a bit, so I don't know if that helps or not. Nazi kagara drishti sometimes helps for grounding, sometimes it's not. And when you're ready, we'll just shake it all off again, because we can't get enough of that. What else do we need? Oh, you know what I want to do? I want to do rotations from each individual hip joint. So I'm going to come up to a wall, totally optional.
I'll do it standing in the middle,
he'll do it
so
in the
you can
middle
see.
of
You can also do this like if you don't have a wall, just beware of your balance.
All right, and I'm going to grab a strap just to show you. I know I didn't warn you guys that you need a strap, but you can either bend one leg, ideally the leg that's not next to the wall, and hold the foot with your hand, or if that's hard, hold the foot with a strap, that's fine. What we're doing is we're bringing the heel as close to the glute as possible, and then from there, we're going to draw the knees towards each other. So if my knee is out like this, I'm just going to bring it towards the other knee, and then tuck the tail, which produces a nice long stretch through the front of my thigh here, my quadricep muscle. So we do that for just a second, hang out in this runner stretch. And then from here, I'm going to take my hand off, maybe put it on my waist, and just draw little circles with the bent knee, spiraling out to bigger circles. And feel free to explore space here. If you want to sort of take the thigh in a more crazy elliptical orbit That's totally fine. An irregular orbit for your thigh. And then when you're ready, we'll switch directions. Same thing, little circles. Spiraling out to big, irregular, crazy, elliptical orbits. And then from here, just to finish kind of warming up this hip joint, up to you whether or not you want to stand on a block. It's certainly helpful for what we're about to do, but it's not necessary. I'll stand on the block with my standing foot, with the leg that I just had bent. I'm going to swing it back and forth.
I just kind of lean off to one side a little bit. Just there.
And hope for the best, right?
Yes, I hope for the best. Hope I don't kick the mirror behind me or
and feel free to get your arm.
me.
Don't kick the floor. Feel free to get your arm engaged here. So, yes, it's true. You don't want to stub your toe. It's a very valid concern. As my leg goes back, my arm comes forward. All right, and then we'll just shake that leg off. Turn around. Do the other side. So again, bending the knee, drawing the heel towards the glute, drawing the knees towards each other, tucking the tail. Nice long spine here too. Let's not forget about that. And then from here, hello runner stretch. From here we let go and just start drawing little circles, spiraling out to big crazy circles. If you like, you can keep it in the little circle dimension if that's more comfortable for you. And then when you're ready, we'll switch directions, starting with these little circles, and then letting them evolve into something else, whatever you want it to be. And then from here, up to you if you want to stand on a block. Swing the leg back and forth, possibly involving your arms. Loosening up through the hip joint. And then we'll just kick that leg off. Shake it all off again. Hips are done. What else do we want for our core? How about some wood chopping?
Sounds great.
Will you chop me some wood?
We're going to step out pretty wide here.
Would you chop me some wood?
Sure. So this could be even wider than match width distance if you need to be. We're going to take the hands, interlace the fingers, and we're going to start down here like this. We're going to inhale coming up. You can let the hips even come a little forward, and exhale coming down with a ha. So do that a few times. Take it at your own pace. Ha. Ha. Last one. And just hang down.
Oh, that's so great. If your hair was not already excellent, it is now. So at this point, let's bring the palms of the hands to the knees. Maybe fingers are pointing in towards each other like this. I'm going to inhale my spine long, not sticking my tail out like this, but really keeping a nice long spine. Exhale and twist to one side. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. And take this at a leisurely pace. Inhaling up, exhaling down, as you inhale, there's a hot air balloon in your belly that's drawing you up, and then it releases, and you come down. And we'll come back up the center here. What do we want to do from here? Let's just come back up to standing, and we'll do a little bit of an organ massage. I'll come up close so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to reach down with one hand, and then reach down with the other. And you'll notice as I'm reaching down, side to side in this little movement, that My shoulders aren't hiking up per se. It's not hike up one shoulder and then hike up the other. It's that I'm just kind of reaching down. I'll step back a bit so you can see my head. My head's mostly charana hold still here. So the movement is isolated from here to here. And what I'm doing is I'm sliding my organs in my abdominal cavity past each other, in my thoracic cavity as well. My lungs are sliding past each other. And if I pipe down for a minute, maybe I'll even hear a sound. Let's see. You hear that?
I hear it.
It's like I'm walking with corduroy pants on or something. So maybe you hear that sound, maybe you don't. If you don't, you failed the yoga test and nobody will like you ever again. Just kidding, you really don't have to hear that sound. So let's shake it all off. I'd like to do agnisara, kriya, and go over uddiyana bandha a little bit right now with you, since we have kind of warmed up the belly. This is one more sort of belly warming up thing we're going to do before coming down and start to massage the belly and really get into using the abdomen in earnest. So I'll just show you real quick. Agnisara kriya is, close to show you. Agnisara kriya is done on the exhale. So when I exhale, I'm going to release and contract my abdominal muscles quickly, but I'll show you slowly first. So what I'm doing is I'm standing here with my feet maybe a little wider than hips width distance. When I go down into my squat, my knees are going to stay over my ankles like this. And you're going out like that or coming in like this, but just right over the ankles. And actually while we're here, let's just warm up the knees real quick. So hands on the knees, little circles. 1920s, 1930s dance, vaudevillian dance. Da, 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 da. And then when you're ready, switch directions. This is also a slight warm up for the ankles here. All right, now for agnisara kriya. So same thing, feet are a little wider than hips width distance. Knees are bent, but knees are coming right over the ankles. I'm gonna, there we go, now you can see, boink, now you can see my belly some. I'm gonna exhale completely, and then I'll show you what this practice looks like.
And so this motion is done with no oxygen in your lungs.
And I inhale
Sorry.
and stand up. Not the most flattering looking practice, but definitely a lot of fun. And yes, it's done on the exhale. We're used to holding on the inhale. This time we're holding on the exhale. So you might just find yourself doing it for a half second. That's fine. Let's give it a try. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, that was it. I just want to make sure people know that we're not inhaling and exhaling. We're exhaling all the air out of the belly, and then we just, with that air not in the belly, we're going to flap the belly.
So we're engaging the rectus abdominis. Those are those long muscles that people call the six pack that just go down the center of the abdomen. And what's happening here is we're just kind of letting it release out and then drawing it back in. It's similar to Kapalabhati breathing, which we've done in this class some, where we're pumping our breath like this. It's those same muscles that are drawing back and forth. It's just this time we're not breathing. So it is a little intimidating. Take it at your own pace.
And you can do it really slow too. It doesn't have to be like when you eventually get up to where it's like sort of almost, like fluttering. But you can do it very, at first very distinctly, just so you can feel what's happening in, out, in, out. So, and when you start to feel like, okay, I got to take an inhale, then stop.
Inhale and then stand up. So we'll show you a few times. Let's do like 3 or 4 rounds, something like that. So inhaling deeply, you can put your hands on your hips to ground yourself as you inhale. Then exhale, come down to your squat, and then there you go. I inhale, I stand back up. I'm gonna put my hands on my hips again to ground myself because this is a motion that brings the energy upward. Breathe here for a second. Catch your breath. And then on the end of your next exhale, we'll come down. When you're ready, inhale, stand, hands on the hips, breathe deeply. Now is a good time to maybe take a peek at that nose tip for Nasikadakara Drishti, which is grounding.
That's what I was going to say. Look at your nose.
We're psychically connected.
Or look down to help ground you.
Yes, anything to draw the energy back down after all that pumping up. I'll do one more round. Let's see if I can. I don't think I can flutter, but I can try at least. Inhale deeply, and then exhale, come on down. Keep the spine long here. Inhaling, standing back up, shake it off. That's another way of grounding yourself. Maybe looking at the nose tip gently as you shake it off. Do we want to show uddiyana bandha now? It's from seated. It's a lot easier from standing, I guess. So yeah, we'll just show you uddiyana bandha real quick from standing. Up to you whether you want to practice it or not. We'll have opportunities possibly later to do it, but we just drank all this water, so my belly is not as empty as I would like it to be. So Brian's going to show you, if you want.
What am I showing?
Uddiyana bandha.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we just did.
Just take it off, man. Just take it off.
I'm going to show it till you get.
Different from the one we just did. I'll show you uddiyana bandha to refresh Brian's memory. So,
Go ahead.
There are three well-known locks within the body, and by lock I mean it's almost like a valve. So it's not something you lock and then you never open it up again. It's something that you can close and shut. There's charana bandha, which is at the neck. The way you engage that is just tucking the chin. It's great when you hold your breath in and you want to really hold it there. Not that I recommend holding your breath unless it's part of practice. Another one is muladhara bandha, which is in the sort of or hip area for people with cervixes. It's right next to the cervix. For people without cervixes, it's in the perineum. That's a lifting up in that area. Don't engage that right now. We're focusing on uddiyana bandha, which is uddiyana translates to sort of upward flying. And it's when you draw the abdomen, let's see, again, you draw the belly in and then fan out the lungs to the side, and it draws all the energy out. Great first thing in the morning practice, particularly when your belly is empty. In fact, I would recommend if you ate like 17 donuts 20 minutes ago, maybe wait another 40 minutes before giving this one a whack. So what I'm gonna do is just show you what it looks like real quick. Exhale completely. This is also done on the end of the exhale. So I'm exhaling completely. I inhale, stand back up. That's uddiyana bandha. I'm drawing everything back, fanning out my ribs. So I'll show you again from the front. Holding that energy up for just a second. Some people like to engage muladhara bandha to help with that. So if you like to pull up on the sort of, for lack of a better way to put it, the taint area, you can do that. And you can tuck your chin if you want. If you really want to send the energy up, you can look up towards your third eye and smile as you do this. So again, I'll show you real quick. I'm inhaling completely, then I exhale completely and engage the bandha. And I inhale and then stand back up. Woo! intense stuff. Definitely brought me to a sweat. So from here, if you want to practice at one time on your own with us, let's give it a whack, and then we'll come down. So again, to show, inhaling deeply, exhale completely. And then shake it on off. You might notice my shoulders come up a little bit as I do that. That's okay. It's part of this little fanning out of the ribs and the intercostal muscles. Yes, great, great. Morning warm-ups are done. Now let's get to the real stuff, eh? Not really. So let's come down seated on the mat, and then just find yourself coming all the way down to laying on your back. Knees can be bent like this. You can have the feet wide and let the knees knock in like this. Or if it's more comfortable for you and you want a hip opener, you can put the soles of the feet together and open up the knees wide. And if you want to do that hip opener but you want some support, then take some blocks, put them under your knees. So from here, I'm actually going to get up to show you what we're doing with our hands, since I know it's hard to see from down there. Let's start with a heart massage. So we're finding where the ribs split, the bottom of the sternum here, and we're taking the pads of our fingers, gently pressing in, rubbing little circles. So right at that spot where the ribs split, just gentle here. Breathing naturally. Let's turn that down just a little bit, because we're down the whole time now. So just allow your fingers to explore this area. You might find some tension, you might find some tightness, and you might find some oogie, weird feelings, in which case, if it's too weird and too intense, you can just chafe the fingers on this area like this. Otherwise, try massaging that area. It is for opening our hearts, even though our hearts are way up here, somewhere around there. And then from here, I'm mirroring you, I believe, we're going to take our fingers under our left ribs. So we're starting a little journey here, same kind of thing, just sort of massaging, working our way down along the left ribs, along the side of the body, until we get to the side of the body. Then we're going to take our left hand like a lobster claw and take it to the waist and just gently massage here. You can just grab hunks of waist. Don't have to grab the whole thing at once. So we're just gently massaging the left side of the body with the left hand. And then let's take our fingers back to that finger pad pressing and massaging thing, and we'll take them right down to the left hip bone. So this is my iliosacral crest right here. That's my knobby hip bone part that sticks out in the front. I'm massaging just above that. From there, I'm going down to bladder and pubic bone area. I'm right above the pubic bone here. If you have to pee, I'm so sorry. This is probably super uncomfortable, so feel free to just chafe there if you want. This area in Chinese medicine is known as the dantian, and it does love a good warming circular motion. So if you have to pee and this really hurts to do this, just chafe the area below the navel, above the pubic bone. And then from here, we go back to our massaging, bringing our fingers above the right hip bone here, the right ridge of the iliosacral crest. And what comes next? We'll work our way up the right side of the body, massaging along the line of the ascending colon. And then when we're at the waist, right hand comes into that lobster claw, and we just kind of squeeze around here. Conveniently, the liver is placed here, so we're doing a little liver massage. Again, be gentle if this is painful. If you encounter things that are hard, gently palpate, gently explore the area. Could be trapped air in the intestines, could be something else entirely. If it is trapped air in the intestines, gentle massage will help move it along. And then from here, we'll come back to our finger pads, pressing, working up the right side of the body, possibly massaging into the oblique muscles. These are the muscles on the side of the rectus abdominis in the middle. So side abdomen muscles help us with twists. And then we'll work our way up to just under the right ribs. And then working our way back up along the bottom of the right ribs here. We'll come back up to the center. And if you were doing these little massages, these little circles in one direction, now let's switch directions and just keep our fingers here at this area right below our sternum. Just to get the energy going the other way for just a second. And then as you lay here, we'll sweep the hands down the sides of the belly, not down the center where the navel is. You never want to press on the navel, it's not so good for you. But just along the sides, you can use the heels of the hands if you want to press below the ribs and down to the hip bones. You might hear some movement in your digestive tract. That's okay. Maybe both hands on one side, both hands on the other side. Stretch the arms long above the head. And then the ab annihilator. Not really annihilator. We aren't going to do as much as we did last week, but let's definitely do some. Brian, take us on an ab journey of epic proportions.
Abdominal.
I'll tag team with you.
So let's take our legs out down the mat, long ways. First thing we're gonna do, let's just do actually, we're gonna do leg lifts, and I'm gonna give you the choice. You can do alternating leg lifts, or you can lift both legs at the same time, or you can start one way and graduate to the other way. We're gonna do about 10 of them. So
arms are down by your sides. If you want to put your hands under your hips for an extra bit of support, it does make things a little bit easier. Palms are face down and the hips are resting on the tops of the hands like this.
we're just going to bring both legs together, and we're going to inhale either one or both legs up slowly, and then slowly exhale, lower one or both legs. Next inhale, either lifting the opposite leg if you're only doing one, or both legs again. Exhaling that leg. Just going with the breath. Try to move slowly through this, slowly and deliberately. You'll get the most bang for your buck. Two more. Last one. Then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to give you two options. If you want a less intense version of this, you can bring the feet to the earth, kind of at about hips width. Let the knees knock in, or you can leave your legs this way. If you want a little bit more intense version of this, you can take both legs up, and then no matter where you are, we're going to come up just slightly, like a couple of inches off of the head and upper back, and we're going to reach down side to side. Reaching down, reaching down.
So this movement totally engages the oblique muscles I was talking about earlier when we were massaging the sides of the abdomen. Even though obviously my rectus abdominis is engaged to hold me up as I reach side to side, it's really those obliques that are kind of pistoning me back and forth here.
Now, if you want to keep, we're going to do something else. And again, if you have your legs up, you can keep them up. If you have your legs down, this time separate the knees, let the feet touch. Or again, keep the legs up if you got them up. Now we're going to make our hands, we're going to interlace the fingers, point the pointer fingers straight ahead. We're going to inhale, coming again up off of the head and upper back, just slightly reaching down towards the feet or up towards the feet if you're doing this like Anna's doing. Inhaling up, exhaling, lowering. Let the motion come from the upper abdominal muscles. Let the upper abdominals lift you. Try not to crunch into the neck or bring the neck forward in an effort. Try to keep the neck in line with the rest of the body.
One other thing you may have noticed is I inhale as I come up and exhale as I come down. You don't have to breathe that way, but it is a nice suggestion.
And now, for the last one, let's maybe come up and do 2 breaths. So inhaling up, exhaling, inhaling again, and then lower on the exhale. Let's take the knees, let's take them into the chest and then just rock a little side to side.
Ooh,
you can also make circles with the knees if you like, giving yourself a little massage for the sacrum.
Can I hop in?
Mm-hmm.
All right. While we're doing this, rocking side to side with our hands on our knees or doing little circles, let's stay in this position, taking the arms out to the side. Let's bring the soles of the feet to the ground, knees come up, and we're just going to take the knees to one side and then the other. So this is a nice sort of release for the low back, I want to say. It's not necessarily strength building, not necessarily working out our abs, but that's okay because it feels wonderful, and that's kind of the whole point of this thing. So to feel wonderful, ideally, we'll do the best we can. And then from here, we are going to turn it into an abdominal strengthener. You can keep doing this as you were doing before if you want, or you can take the legs into a 90-degree angle like this and just take them down to one side and down to the other. Now you might find palms face down, grasping the ground is a really easy way to keep your shoulders from coming up here, because as my legs come to this side, my right shoulder wants to come up, my legs are to the left. I try to keep my right shoulder down. Same thing on the other side. And if you want a real challenge, I'm just going to show it to one side because I've got a pesky wall kind of in the way. Straighten the legs. Woo! And then do it.
A wall on my way too.
The wall might actually be your friend here. A little bit of army calisthenics for you. I'm using a little bit too much momentum here. We'll try not to. And then we'll bring the legs back into the chest and just rock side to side or draw little circles with the knees, or if it's comfortable for you, you can rock up and down the mat a little bit, warming up the spine that way. You want to do bicycles next?
Yeah.
All right, let's
So
ride our bikes.
So let's come back down. We're going to do a little bit of bicycling. We're going to do a couple different versions of this. So you can take your head, you can make your hands into a hand basket. You can just let your head rest in your hands. Really let it relax. So try to let that neck hang down. And you can also do this with the head on the earth if you're really trying to make sure you're letting that neck relax and not holding any tension there. Let's take our legs out into the shape of an L, and then just bicycle, just like simple bicycles at first. So we're just doing the feet, making little bicycles. And if you want to add a twist into this, you can do this slow, and you inhale and twist and take the elbow towards the knee that's coming close to you. So it looks kind of like this.
So I exhale, center, inhale to the side.
And then when you're ready, you can just keep going if you like. When you're ready, we're gonna bring the feet to the earth, take the arms out into a T again. And again, let the knees go side to side, releasing any tension in the low back.
Take it kind of slow.
All right.
Like real loosey-goosey. Just make sure to keep those shoulders heavy on the mat as you do this. Oh, I want to do bridging real quick too.
Sounds great.
So a few options for bridging. A block nearby might be handy if you decide you've had enough of the kriya movement, the active movement, and you want to just get into a posture and hold it, that's fine too. So bridging, I could be coming into bridge with my heels right next to my glutes like this and my knees pointing out. But the thing is, when I come in, it's a very unstable bridge and not so comfortable. So I'm actually going to walk my heels out just a little bit, just making sure that my ankles and my knees are in a straight line perpendicular to the floor. From here, I'm going to inhale my hips up nice and high, here I am in bridge, and then exhale them down. And I'm going to continue moving like that, inhaling up, exhaling down. If you're not interested in all this movement and you just want to chill for a minute, I get it. You can take a block, place it under the hips, either low, medium, or high. It's really right under the sacrum, which is kind of that little nubby thing right above the tailbone. So you can hang out here in supported bridge or continue bridging, inhaling up, exhaling down. As we do this, I'm not inhaling my knees wide like this as I come up, but I'm really trying to keep them parallel. So similarly, if you want a hard block event, you put the block in between your knees, the thinnest part of it, inhaling up, exhaling down. So I'm holding the block in place with my knees to make sure that my knees aren't splaying out to the side. This is a stretch for those abdominal muscles that we just tightened up through using them. We're still using them, but this time we're stretching them long as we use them as opposed to contracting them. Next time you come down, you can either continue with that for this next round of activity. You can get into your supported bridge if you like, or you can try wheel. And with wheel, I'm going to keep the block here. We'll see how I do. It might totally fly out at some point, but it's the same thing. I really want to keep my knees working towards each other and not splaying out to the side as I come up and down and wheel. And of course you have the option, if you have a wheel practice, just to come up to wheel and hang out there. If you don't, I'll show you what it looks like. The palms of the hands come right below the shoulders. Fingers are pointing down towards my tail. My elbows are sticking straight up. I'm going to come up onto the crown of my head first, hang out here for a second, get my hands nice and grounded, shoulder width distance. Inhale up, exhale down. Hard with the block, inhaling up, exhaling down. So up to you. You can continue doing your wheeling. Might even want to take the block in a wider way if you're doing it with a block, but God, that's hard.
Hard with the block, right?
Hard with the block.
Mm-hmm.
Without a block, it's easy as pie, right? Not really. And then we'll come down. Again, draw the knees in towards the chest. Rocking side to side if you like. Drawing little circles on the ceiling if you like. Is there anything else we want to do on our backs before flipping over?
Can't think of much.
If you're drawing little circles, switch direction.
12 minutes.
Oh, wonderful. So much time. Hooray. And then from here, we'll roll off to one side and come on to our bellies for a little more strengthening, but also stretching of the abs. Again, lengthening of the abs as opposed to contracting. So, what do you want to do first?
Oh,
you know.
Well, let's do this. Let's come down to our chin. Our arms are stretched out long in front of us. Our legs are stretched out long behind us.
Legs can almost be in like a V shape here. They don't have to be next to each other.
We're going to inhale, lifting the left arm and the right leg slowly, and then exhale, slowly lower. With the next inhale, we're going to slowly raise the right arm and left leg, slowly lower. So we're just going to go back and forth.
If you're practicing on a real hard surface and you want to pat under your hips with a folded up blanket, totally fine, because I'm gonna do it. This floor is a little tough on my iliosacral crest.
And then you can come back down. We're going to do something I call like swimming.
The claps.
The clap.
The
Clap.
No,
That doesn't sound so good.
it's not called the clap, but you may find that your hands are clapping in this.
And how this works is we're going to reach up like this. So we're engaging our core so we can be like this, take the hands together, and then see if you can flap them, and maybe you can clap your hands behind you as well.
You might see that I'm rocking a little bit as my hands come back. That's totally fine. Why not?
And you can just come into Sphinx pose from here.
So Sphinx, what does that look like?
Elbows are lined up directly under shoulders. And then we're kind of pulling.
Oh, and elbows are shoulder width distance.
Yes.
So how do we find that out?
You can grab opposite elbows like this, and that will help you determine shoulder width distance. So as long as you can grab both elbows, you're in the right spot. And then you can just turn those forearms forward like this. Try to take your neck down or your shoulders down and back, and bring the heart forward. It might not be so easy in this pose, but give it a try. One of my favorite yoga teachers said, pretend you have like a very fancy necklace and you're trying to show it off.
And that same favorite yoga teacher also says, in a position like this, we don't really want our head to lean back. I mean, even though our spine is a continuation of, our neck is a continuation of our spine, we still want to keep the chin slightly tucked here. So we want to cultivate a slight double chin. Don't worry, it's not necessarily permanent, but it is definitely something that keeps the neck nice and long. The cervical spine is nice and long here. So as we're hanging out here in our Sphinx, find your place of comfort, releasing attention in the tail, untuck the tail if it's sticking up like that. And we're going to engage another bandha. So we went over uddiyana bandha earlier. That's a very extreme sort of bandha experience. And technically, we're slightly engaging jalandhara bandha in our neck by tucking the chin ever so slightly. But at the end of your exhale, I want you to engage a bandha called nabi bandha. It's about 4 finger widths below the navel. So just think of that area below the navel that we were just rubbing on earlier. And when you exhale, draw that below navel abdominal area towards the spine. And then on your next inhale, keep it drawn up towards the spine and inhale through the side and back of the body. So basically what that feels like is as I inhale, instead of my belly popping forward, my sides and back, I'm going to envision them filling up with air, even though obviously my lungs are the things that hold the air. Because I'm still keeping that area below the navel engaged. And then exhaling, you can disengage for a second here. Feel the belly fall back towards the mat. And then re-engage at the bottom of your exhale. Inhale. Keeping the engagement and exhale. Release the engagement, getting ready to re-engage at the bottom of the exhale. And just do a few more breaths that way yourself. Now, the hard thing for me is as I inhale, keeping nabi bandha engaged, I don't want to bring my shoulders up towards my ears on the inhale. So we'll give that a few more tries. And when you're ready, release the lock on the exhale. We'll come all the way down, take your elbows to the side, rest your head on your hands, one on top of the other. So I'm looking to the side, my cheek is resting on my hands. So I'm just gonna wave the hips back and forth a little bit. AKA, wiggle your butt. Just a little bit. And then we'll turn our heads to look the other way, to bend the knees, and let the feet windshield wiper side to side. Just got a little bit more, and then we'll find ourselves ready for a rest. All right, you want to do the hands and knees?
Yeah. So let's come up to our tabletop position. You know what? While we're here, well, let's do this one thing first, but then we're going to do a little bit cat and cow just to kind of loosen up. But first, let's do this. So we're going to inhale, right arm forward, left leg back. Just kind of hang there for a minute. Then we're going to work with our breath. So we're going to inhale, and we're going to exhale. Let's take the knee towards the elbow.
You could even cat and cow here if you want. So as I inhale, I extend up, bringing the belly towards the mat. As I exhale, I draw the belly up towards my spine and tuck everything in, rounding my back. So inhaling, stretching up, exhaling, tucking in. If it's easier to have your back toe tucked here, go for it.
And when you're ready, we'll come back to center. We'll do the other side. So first, reaching forward with the left arm, reaching back with the right leg. Take a few breaths here, just sort of stabilizing. See what you need to do to make this a very stable position. And then inhale, reach. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, elbow to knee. And yes, you can do it with the cat. There's a cat-cow as well.
Reaching cat, or reaching cow, touching cat, or crunching cat. Crunchy frog. Oh, we're nerds.
Reaching cow.
Reaching cow.
Punching cat.
Punching
That was a movie, right? It's our martial arts movie.
Oh, stop.
And then we'll come back to tabletop position.
Let's do some cat and cows in there, and that's complete with spinal jump roping. So inhaling, tail comes up, head comes up, belly comes down. Exhaling, belly comes up, tail tucks, head tucks. Back and forth. Inhaling, exhaling. And then we're going to bring a circular motion to this. So I'm going to inhale, and as I exhale, I'll bump my ribs to one side and then up. Exhale, bump the ribs to the other side and then down. So like this. Allow the neck to become part of this movement. Make it luxurious. Next time you inhale, switch directions, going the other way. And then when you're ready, come back to neutral. And we'll just come right back to child's pose. Does that seem right? Is
Mhm.
You did it! Way to go! So child's pose. I'm taking the blanket out just for ease. So my hips are coming towards my heels. My knees are actually together here. You could do it with wide knees like this, but you'll still have kind of that little divot in the low back here. I'm actually trying to round that out a little bit. So let's bring the knees together, again, tuck the tail and round the spine over the legs. Arms can be extended out in front of you like this, or you can slide them back and even hold your heels, really rounding yourself into your legs this way. But don't hold any tension in the shoulders if you are holding the heels.
And then when you're ready, we'll bring our hands right in front of our knees, push down on them to bring us up to seated on our heels. Let's breathe here for just a second. Spine's long. If it's uncomfortable to sit on your heels, you can sit on a block. Knees come together. Feet are hugging the edges of the block. So we'll just chill here for a second. Heart is open. Tail is tucked. Chin is slightly tucked. Spine is nice and long. To ground yourself, if you like, you can gaze at your nose tip and focus on the sensation of air coming in and out of your nose. And then it's up to you. You can either stay like this, seated in meditation, or if you want to bring yourself down to Shavasana, now's the time. If you're coming into Shavasana, make sure that you're warm enough. And if you're like me and you wear glasses, I recommend taking them off for Shavasana. From here, let's tuck the tail a little bit in Shavasana. Tuck the chin just a little bit so you're looking straight up. And then you can close your eyes. Lift up the heart a little bit, coming off of the upper back. Tuck the shoulders and then let the heart come back down. Palms face up. Arms out by my side, maybe 1/3 of a meter away from each hip. Legs are almost a meter apart from each other. For us Americans, hands are about a foot away from each hip. Legs are about 2.5, 3 feet apart from each other. Feet. And just allow the breathing to become effortless, natural. No need to cultivate a practice except for quietude. And when you're ready, if you're ready, and of course you don't have to be ready, this is your practice. If you like, feel free to bring some life to the fingers and the toes, rolling the wrists and ankles maybe a little bit. Stretching the arms long above the head, stretch the legs together, stretch, stretch, stretch. And then before we roll on our sides to get up, let's take our palms of our hands down to the belly and just rest them there for a second. Thanking your core, thanking your personal fire that resides in Manipura, the jewel, the city of jewels at the belly. This is where our motivation comes from. This is where our ambition comes from. This is where our gut feeling comes from. Whether or not you appreciate certain qualities of your belly, it's there for you. And we thank it. From here, feel free to rub the hands, just a smooth rubbing of the hands in a circle. It's clockwise circle if 12 o'clock is my pubic bone and 6 o'clock is the bottom of my sternum. So I'm rubbing my hands up the right side, down the left side, along with the flow of digestion. You can go the other way too if you like, but let's at least start clockwise. Bringing warmth to the digestive tract, and if you like, bringing love, appreciation, and gratitude to the digestive tract. And then when you're ready, we can roll off to one side or the other, resting in a fetal position for just a second. And then feel free to push yourself up to seated. If you'd like to sit on a folded up blanket or a block or something like that, totally fine. I'll do a couple rounds of prana mudra and om and say goodbye. So inhaling the arms out wide and up, maybe even reaching forward, looking up. Exhale, pushing back, maybe grounding back as you do so. Inhale, arms out wide and up. Exhale, push down. One last time, inhaling. At the top of the inhale, let's draw the palms together. Exhale, palms down in front of the heart. Shoulders are down, chin is slightly tucked. We'll inhale here, and on your next exhale, if you want to join us in an om, you're more than welcome. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Thank you for practicing with us today. Namaste.
Namaste.